So as artists and crafters, we know we have to post on social media, right? Because that helps to get more people to see our stuff, more people to buy our stuff. But I don't know about you, but me, I have a problem with moving forward. Sometimes like I have to think about too much about something and that gets me stuck. And I even saw this woman saying today that she has a terrible time writing captions for Instagram. And that might be stopping you from creating content, right? I know it does to me. I'm reading this Gary Vee book. I know Gary Vee is a little annoying, but hey, he's bigger than us, so we should at least know and understand what he's talking about, because he's probably right on some stuff, right? And what he's saying is that we have to create content. And it's a fact that putting yourself in front of people is the way that they're going to discover your work. And social media is a free way to do that. You can do ads as well, the paid way, but you know, it's free. I just had a reel went viral. It was 320,000 people so far. It's been like a week. Imagine, where would I get 320,000 people to see anything that I made? You know what I mean? So I'll show you how I come up with text, because I'm ESL. You know what ESL is? English as a second language. So you know, you can tell that my English is not perfect because I'm from Brazil, and I was never good at writing, even in Portuguese. And so when ChatGPT came about, I loved it because it really helps me to write stuff. I don't just copy and paste, but it helps me to brainstorm and to come up with things, and you can even copy and paste if you want, okay? So I'll share with you in this video how you can come up with captions for your Instagram, and you can come up with ideas and stuff with the help of ChatGPT. And so I have those prompts. Prompts are like the guides that you enter to ChatGPT to help you better, because if you don't write the right prompt, it won't really understand what you're talking about, and it'll be annoying. I get in fights with ChatGPT sometimes. So I have those prompts I'm gonna show you, and if you want my Google Doc, I can share with you for free. Just say here Google Doc, and I will send it to you via Messenger, all right? So here's how I do. So first thing, you have to prime the AI, right? Because the AI just read the whole internet and it knows a lot of information, and it could be anyone. It could be like a cop, it could be an actress, it could be a kid, it could be anything. So you gotta tell it what it is, so then they can respond to you accordingly, right? It's like if you're consulting somebody, but you have to tell them, whoever is inside of the AI, to be like, you are this. So then that's how you prime it. That's very important, okay? So then the first prompt is to prime and talk about what you want. But if you just tell them what you want, it's gonna start generating content, and it could be nonsense. So you want to tell it to wait, see how I say, can you help me with that? But do not generate yet. I'll give you more information. So then I enter and see what happens. Then I'll go and I'm gonna tell what I need, right? And that's when I go there and I have my prompt, and I say, you know, in that case, you have to know who your ideal client is, you know, what you're trying to write. And I'll show you how you can do the reverse process as well. You can start with an image or a video, but let's go step by step, right? So then next you have to say, what does this for? This is the prompt I use. So let's see. See, it gave ideas. It's telling me ideas for captions, right? So because I said that my customer likes whimsical stuff, then it makes like all whimsical, right? But I don't want to make it like too girly and like whimsical like that. So I'm gonna tell it to change the language a little bit. In fact, I like to always tell it to make the language simple, because so sound more like me, since my vocabulary is not as, you know, big, large. So then I always tell to adapt the language a little bit. So now I'm gonna go there and say to avoid jargons, because the GPT can be really like cliche. So I'm gonna say, let's make it a little less cliche. Then it keeps it simple, right? So from this, you can have ideas. But then let's give it more specific about my client, because as you're working with it, you see what is delivering. I'm not reading everything right now, but you should read and then see what else could be changed. Because anything that you want to adapt, you tell it and it will adapt to whatever it's doing. So then I'm gonna tell a little bit more about my customer. And it's something that you can always go deeper, right? So as you go, and that's something that only you know about your business and who is your ideal customer. But then you just, as you work with the GPT, you just go and give more information. The more information you give, the more you're gonna get in exchange, all right? So, and then I gave more information, now it's gonna give me more captions, but more adapted to that. Let me read it. Okay. You see, it's like saying to describe your outfit. It's telling me telling the post, because the idea on Instagram is that you create stuff that people interact with. So then the algorithm is like, oh, this post is getting engagement, so let me show to more people. You probably know that, right? And so that's why I asked the GPT to create engaging captions for me, right? That's why it's asking questions, right? You see how it says, what colors and patterns do you want to see next? Then somebody will say something. But if it's not very if it's kind of lame, then you change and you'll be like, can I get yeah, right? So, and then you keep working with that. But here's the thing, I didn't give anything, right? I'm just asking for captions in general. This is like a brainstorm session. But then what you can do is start with an image. So then you can use this prompt and say, if you can do with an image. Okay, so then let's say I want to post a picture of this, right? Which I already took a picture. And so I want to post this picture on Instagram, and then I'll go and give it to the GPT and see what caption it comes up with. And then we can post on Instagram. When you post a picture, I know this is about not writing anything, but you just have to write something that's not it doesn't need to be engaging or anything. It's just really a description of what you're trying to do with that picture, right? So I'll tell this is like a quilt block. And see what caption is gonna come up with. And of course I could take a better picture, right? It gave the caption with a question which would be engaging, but I think that question is kind of like, are people really gonna respond to that question? So I'm gonna say something else. Try to get better results, right? Transforming shirts into unique pieces is my kind of upcycling. What's your favorite way to refresh your wardrobe? Yeah, that would be a little smarter. So maybe people will go and comment, right? All right, this is just an idea. Now the last thing is, you can also ask other ideas. So that would be like another reverse way to do it. You're like, what else ideas could I get for my posts? Then it's gonna give you a list of ideas. Let's see, look. See, it's giving me examples, right, and ideas. So from that, for instance, storytelling. This design is inspired by my childhood memories of watching my mother sew. Every piece has a story. Great, so that could remind me of a picture of my mom that I already have. So, and I have pictures of my mom, even she was here in my studio or at her house when I was visiting her. So I could take that picture and post and use this caption, That's what I'm saying. Like, so you can either start with the image that you have and ask to create the caption, or you can have ideas, think of images. Right now, the way I'll do is, okay, let's work on number 7, the storytelling. And here's a picture. Then I'll enter the picture of my mom here, post that and be like, give me the caption, the best caption for that's engaging. And then we'll generate the caption. That way you can collect all of that, right? So you could sit down for a few hours, think of all images you have, all ideas you have, I'll give you the prompts. So then you can use these prompts to start the conversation. Then you have images and ideas and ask for ideas. And then you take a Google Sheet and you post the captions, each line, you add a caption, add the image, and then you collect that. And that's a bank of posts that you have. Once you have like 10, 12, you just save them, and then you can post on Instagram 3, 4, 5 times a week. So your Instagram is not dead, you're not stuck, and you create content. So that way you can grow and attract new people to you. And if you are collecting emails, you have a link there to your email list, and then you can grow and sell more and get new clients. All right, I hope that's helpful, and let me know what you think.